Okay, I think we're good. So campaigns, Facebook ads, command campaigns, whatever you want to call them, it's all kind of the same thing. So what are campaigns and why are they successful? So they're a valuable tool for reaching potential leads in a controlled fashion. As of Q1 2020, Facebook still stands as the largest worldwide social network with more than 2.6 billion monthly users. So that is a huge audience for you guys to reach using Facebook campaigns. Facebook yields itself to ad targeting based on individual interests, ensuring that your message gets in front of the right eyes. And then this is a brand new stat that we just surpassed, creating 2 million leads for our agents through our partnership with Facebook and Google at an average of $1.87 per lead. So that's not really something you can get anywhere else. So that, I mean, it's just huge. It really is. So what does this mean for you as an agent? So Facebook and Keller Williams have worked collaboratively to perform a platform that can make informed decisions based on your desired outcome. So this is a quote from the Facebook client partner, Scott Shapiro. Sometimes we make human assumptions when machine learning is going to point us in surprising directions. It's the perfect intersection of what you know about real estate, what we know about our platform, and putting it together to create a product that is holistically best in class. So us and Facebook, we're a pretty good partnership to put your ads out there, get your name out there, and help you guys get some leads at a really cheap price. So there are a few things to keep in mind when you're getting started doing the Facebook campaigns, or really any campaign in Command. So you want to make sure your social medias are connected to your Command. I will show you where to do that, but it's just in your settings, same place you connect everything. If you don't already have a Facebook business page, you're going to want to create one. So the way that they're set up, you cannot run an ad through a personal page, or I'm sorry, through a personal profile. It has to be through a business page. They're pretty easy to set up. You really just Google how to create a Facebook business page, and it'll take you right to the link, and it's just filling out some information and uploading pictures. So you also need to think about where you want the ad to take the consumer once they click through to your ad. So they can go to just your website. If you want them to go to the link where they download your app, you can do that. Or today, I'm going to show you the way of doing this through creating a landing page. So you can create a landing page for pretty much anything. Spoiler alert, I'm going to do one based on if I was doing an ad for a listing. So that's definitely something you can do. So steps to successfully targeting your audience. I would say you need to have an audience in mind when doing this ad. It's probably not just going to be every single person who has Facebook. You know, you're going to want to think about price point, interest, things like that. So step one is to profile your buyers. So for each listing, assuming you're doing an ad based on a listing, you want to come from a marketing mindset and come up with a mental profile of the person you could see purchasing the home. So who do you think would be living there? That is who you're going to want to market this ad towards. You're going to want to zero in on interests. So currently we can't target demographics, so no age, income, zip code, stuff like that. You can target an area, but not a specific zip code. You're going to want to target based on interests that will help get your ad in front of the right people. So you can focus on real estate related interests such as mortgage calculator, investing, realtor.com. What you might not want to focus on is stuff like realtor.com Pro, Zillow Pro, stuff like that. That's usually, you know, real estate agents using. You also want to think about your price point. So in thinking about the interest, if it's a luxury listing, you know, you might want to think about stuff like architecture, design, guesses on some of the other activities that a luxury buyer might be interested in, such as, you know, country clubs, wineries, yachts. If it's a $600,000 house, you might not want to be focusing on those that are looking to build their investment portfolio, because that's not typically, you know, not that it can't happen, but that's not typically what investors are looking for. So set your parameters. You get to choose your budget when it comes to Facebook ads. So I would definitely think about that first. So how much money are you willing to spend, and how many leads is that going to take for you to deem a campaign successful? And then step 5 is just create an engaging ad. So for single property homes, don't give everything away. Don't put the property address on the ad itself. So I tell everybody, you have a click-through button, a call to action button. Your goal in doing this ad is to get the consumer to click on that. So you want to, kind of leave a little bit to the imagination. You want them to have questions. You want them to know more. So you don't want to give away things that might deter them from clicking through, like, the address, purchase price. Because if you give them the address, they can just go Google it, and then they're not using you as an agent. So we want to give them the opportunity to want to know more and click through so they can get to whatever page you're wanting to direct them to. And then just a few ad examples. So most of these are single property. So this one is from Haley Roisum of the Anderson Hicks Group. So her average runtime of ads is 7 days. If it does really well, they run them for an additional 7 days on a $30 budget. These might be kind of outdated numbers, but her total spent since beginning to run ads at the time was a little bit over $2,000. They had received a little bit over 1,000 leads and securing 40 plus appointments. So those are pretty good stats. And this is just showing, this is the actual screenshot of the campaign page in Command. But it's just, completely remodeled and updated, original hardwood floors, tons of natural light. They're not giving you the address. They're not giving you the price. You kind of want to know more about this, and that's really the goal. So Jessica Starr of Starr Realty Group. So within a 72-day span, they ran 30 ads through Command. Her average runtime is 5 to 7. She started experimenting with ads more than 70 days ago. They've spent a little bit over $1,000 at the time of this, once again, receiving 473 leads and closing almost $25,000 in GCI. So, okay. So this is just another example. You can use emojis and stuff like that. If you're an all caps person, go for it. Just whatever, this one highlights more features of the property, which is kind of what I would focus on most, and just kind of what you think would speak to your desired audience. Okay, Nick Baldwin. So total single property ads run through Command within a 45-day span was 8. His average runtime was 5 to 7 days. I think now he sticks to more of a 5-day, $5 per day. So he does $25 ad runs. The total spent was $220, 158 leads received, 12 appointments secured, 24,000, almost 25 closed in GCI once again. So if you follow him at all, he is kind of like the king of Command, honestly. So he does so many good things with the ads, and I wish there were more examples of his ads out there, but like if you look on Facebook, I believe it's Command Your Conversion or Command Your Conversation. That's a really good place to look. He's always on there. But why rent when you can own? Spacious, affordable 2-bedroom condo. Click learn more for photos, info, and price. I like that because it kind of tells them what they're going to get by clicking learn more. So it kind of gives them some incentive. And then my last one. So she decides to use the Keller Mortgage approach. So this is Jen Brinker. At the time she ran 8 ads through Command. Average runtime 4 to 10 days. So hers are a little bit longer. All of the others, they kind of stick to 5 to 7. She had spent $215 and received 167 leads. So this particular ad, she was quoted to say it was $25. She received 33 leads for an average cost of 76 cents per lead. She typically always includes a listing as well as a nod to Keller Mortgage's 0+ loan product. So she is using mortgage terms in her interest targeting because that's one of the most highly searched terms in real estate right now. And this could have been a year ago for all I know, but I think that still holds pretty true. That's a really good targeting ad or targeting word to use in the interests. So let me actually get into Command. So right now I'm in command. So just agent.kw.com if you've never been in there before. The first step I talked about was making sure your social medias are connected. So you want to make sure your Facebook is connected to your command profile. So if you ever need to do anything like that, come up here to your profile picture and click the drop down, and we're going to go into settings. So anything you want to connect is in here. So I have my Facebook connected. You really just click connect account, log in, and it'll take you there.
What are we doing?
Command ads. Okay, and then the next step of kind of thinking, where do you want them to go to when they click the learn more? So for the purposes of this, I'm going to create a landing page, and you do that through the consumer applet. When you click in here, this will show you quite a few things. So you have any landing pages you've already created, your agent site pages. So these are the ones that are actually a part of your website. So you can use any of these as a click-through link if you wanted to. Your app, really any website you have a link for, you can use as a click-through link. So I'm going to go back to landing pages and I'm going to create a new site. So you have two options. You can either do it on your agent site. So that just means you can access it by going to your actual website, or you can do it as a standalone page. So it's just one page all by itself. It's not connected to anything. You can really only get there if you have the specific URL. It can really be done both ways, whatever you prefer, whatever you think would be more beneficial for you and your business. But for today, I'm just going to do it as a standalone page. So just select your option and hit create page. So when you first come over into the landing page, I'm going to go ahead and rename it. And I'm going to do it based on the property address that I'm using today to make an ad. And I say this every time. I'm not a bad typer, but you know, when I have to type under pressure in front of people, you would think I've never typed before in my entire life, so I apologize. So over here in the body, this is what your landing page is actually going to look like. So I have to kind of build this myself, but over here, they make it really easy. These are what we call widgets. So, sorry, our faces are in the way. But just take a look at them and decide what you want to bring over. So in this one, my purpose is to highlight a listing. So I'm just going to start, you just drag and drop. I'm going to start with a branded header. I'm going to do a listing. And then I know this isn't, you know, I'm not obviously advertising this almost $1.4 million house, but we'll be able to configure it in a second. And then I'm going to do a lead form because when they click through and they look at this, they should have a place to be able to contact me. And then to finish it off, I'm going to do a legal footer just so all of that good information is in there. So once I've basically built this up with everything that I want, I just hit configure widgets. And then the branded header, lead form, legal footer, those are really already good to go. There's nothing to change in the lead form, but the branded header, all of this information is coming from my marketing profile. So it brings it all in, but if for some reason you haven't created your marketing profile yet, you can do it all manually here. So I'm going to add in my header text. I'm just going to use the address. And then my headshot's good, name, phone number, email address, that's all good. I'm not on a team, so I don't have a team logo. I'm just going to hit save and apply, and it's going to configure it. So that's widget 1 of 4. I'm going to click through to my next widget. So this one is the main one, so the listing selected. So just to get it to where the listing you want is in there, just hit browse listings. And this is going to pull up, it's not just our MLS, like right now it's in North Carolina, but that's a lot of listings. So you can search by property address, MLS number. I doubt you're going to know the KWLS ID off the top of your head, so I wouldn't really worry about that one too much. But I wrote down the MLS number ahead of time, so I'm going to search that way. And then the particular one I'm using is 20 Rolling Pines Drive. This is a welcome home team listing. Keep in mind, you know, I don't want you guys to think just because you don't have a listing, you can't run a Facebook ad. Many of the agents in our market center, they are completely fine if you use their listings to market. Just make sure you ask permission. And I mean, that's really about it. Just make sure that they're okay with it. And obviously when it comes into compliance, you know, don't be marketing listings that are pending, stuff like that. So my listing is in there. I just need to select my header image. I'm just going to pick the first one. All of these come from the MLS. And then I'm going to hit save and apply. And then it's going to update it to my listing. So they can see basically everything that's in the MLS. They can click through and see more pictures, with schools, where it is on a map, stuff like that. And then I'm going to click through to my next two widgets just to make sure everything's okay. So if I wanted to, the default is interested, let's talk. If I wanted to change it to let's schedule a showing, questions, call my team, let my team know, how can my team help you? Literally anything you want. That's kind of what I'm getting at. Oh my gosh. I'm going to say schedule a showing today. And we always want to save and apply because that's what's actually going to save it in there and configure it. And then I'm going to go through to my legal footer. There really shouldn't be anything to add in there. If you want to add your Facebook link, Twitter, Instagram, anything like that, feel free to do so. Once again, all of this is coming from my marketing profile, so I really don't have to do a whole lot here. So at this point, you know, I'm pretty happy with this, and we're finished. So I'm going to hit publish page. And it's going to ask you this, you know, this is going to make it visible to others. We're going to click yes. So right now the status has changed to green. So that means it's an actual active link. So if you were to copy and paste this URL and somebody were to click on it, this is where they would take them. So you could use these landing pages for pretty much anything. If you wanted to create something like this just to show off a listing and then just post it on Facebook without going the ad route, you easily could. Just make sure you're posting all of the information you need to just to cover your tracks. You don't want to get a call from Trisha letting you know that your ad is out of compliance. But from here, you want to make sure it's marked to green if you want to use this as the click-through link in your ad. Otherwise, it will not let you choose it. And since I talked about that marketing profile, I'm going to go into there just to show you guys. Go back into settings. And then I believe it's under connect settings and then marketing profile. Go through this and make sure everything is filled out correctly and everything that you need is in here, because the information from here, it transfers over to pretty much everything in Command. So your website, your emails, if you use Smart Plans. You saw that this was in my landing pages. So completing this just kind of saves you a few steps in the long run. So I'm going to go back to the home page. But from here, I mean, I'm pretty much ready to start my ad. So I'm going to go into the campaigns applet. And then there's a ton of stuff in this applet that's worth checking out. It's not just, you know, the big thing on here is Facebook ads, but that's really not everything that's in here. Paid ads, that's what we're focusing on today, but you can do mass emails, you can do direct mail, which I'm going to do a class on Thursday. This is a really, really cool function that I don't think a lot of people know is in here. This, it's not free. So direct mail and the paid ads are obviously the two that you have to pay for. They're one of the few things you have to pay for in Command. But you can design postcards and this will send them out for you. So you don't have to know people's names, addresses, anything like that. It's going to generate those addresses for you. All you have to do is create it. You don't have to go to the post office or anything. So, and then social posts, I'll click into here really quick. This just gives you the opportunity to queue up social posts, assuming that your Facebook is connected. So these are free. All you do is just, if you decided, hey, Thanksgiving's coming up, I want to make sure that I already have a post ready for it. Just come in here, and then I could say, Thursday, November 26th, and I could create a social post. So that's pretty cool. But I'm going to go back to the dashboard. So there's some stats in here. If you're a stat-based person and you like to see, you can see your lead to goal, what percentage on target you are, how much you've spent, how many leads you've generated, how many campaigns, stuff like that. And then there's also quick posts. So if you're not feeling very creative, you can come through and use these. And then there are some training links down here. But I'm going to go into the paid ads option. So in here, it'll show you what all you've ran, the durations, all of the stats for them. So to create a new one, we're just going to hit create a new campaign. And then we're going to do this as a paid social ad. So you have a few options to choose from. You definitely want to give it a name, otherwise it's not going to let you keep going through. I just like to name it the address so that way I can always go back and know what this ad was about. You have to choose a goal. I will say that this doesn't really change anything other than the AI keeps track of this. So maybe one day there might be, differences based on what you choose. And then, I've seen some people, they have theories where attract listings doesn't work as well as attract buyers. I don't know how true any of it is. It's really, the content of the ad. But since I'm running this one in the thought of promoting a listing, I'm just going to choose advertise listing. And then you have the option to do it through Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. Facebook's really the most popular one. I don't really see anybody use the Twitter ones that much. And then Instagram, that's probably like the second most popular. But I'm just going to do this one as Facebook. Just keep in mind, say your budget is $10 for this ad. If I chose 2, it would be splitting them between the 2 channels. So if you kind of want to get a little bit, I don't even know that that's more bang for your buck, but I don't know. I mean, it's really up to you guys, however you want to run them, but just Facebook is the most prevalent one. I'm going to hit setup campaign. And then since I chose advertise listing, it's looking for that listing. So it defaults to only my listings. I'm going to change this to all listings. And then once again, I'm going to search by MLS number. Then I'm using 20 Rolling Pines Drive. So I'm going to select. Okay, so if you go the route that I did and you pull something in from the MLS, it's going to pull in some text from, the MLS. So honestly, this is the first one I've pulled in where the description would be a pretty good ad text. So gorgeous home on a cul-de-sac located. I wouldn't put that in the ad, just because that does give away a lot of information. It features 4 bedrooms and 3.5 baths, inviting front porch with fans to enjoy your morning coffee or evening tea. So you could really just stop there if you wanted to. But I am going to delete that out and kind of just start over, because a lot of them that I pull in, the main copy is not what you would want to use for the ad. Things get cut off. You're limited to 250 characters. The recommended is 125 characters or less. So making a really, really wordy ad isn't necessarily better. I've seen they have to go through an approval process, and I've seen some things kind of get flagged in the approval process, and it's mainly because of Facebook. Facebook has to actually approve it, and it having too much text on there can actually be grounds for it not being approved. So keep that in mind. Other things are like stuff like, alcohol, political views, anything that Facebook thinks might offend people. So just keep that in mind. You know, we don't want to offend anybody. We want all of your ads to get approved. So just keep it, you know, keep it professional. So you can say something like inviting front porch. If you're an emojis person, click through here. There are a ton. So I don't really know what goes with a front porch. We use a leaf. So inviting front porch. I had kitchen with wine fridge written down, but now that I'm thinking about it, that might not really be something you want to add in just because of the Facebook rules. So we'll skip over that one. Community. Community amenities. And it's in Anderson Creek, so you know they have a pool. So if I wanted to search something for pool, you know, that's not really there. You know, just kind of play around with it. I don't really want to use any of those. We can say, you know, community pool, gym. See if there's a tennis ball. We wanted to say large backyard, add in a tree. Really, I will say the hardest part about the ads is actually coming up with what, you know, to put in the ad. So, huge kitchen. See what's in the food. We'll do grapes. Okay, so if you wanted to keep going, you know, whatever you want to put in there that you think will portray this house and make people interested in your ad. So for the headline, I am going to just say Fayetteville home could be yours. I promise I can type better than this. It's also 3 degrees in the training room right now, so that could be the problem. Okay, so the description. So that's what's going to go right here. So it does give you suggestions. So if you want to shuffle through those, like this one's, you could be coming home to this, view photos and videos of this home, stuff like that. If you want to use any of those suggestions, just click it and it'll populate it in the ad. Or you could do something like click learn more for more photos, pricing, and to schedule a private showing. So kind of giving, you know, the viewer what's going to happen when I click that learn more button. So there we go. If they're actually interested in this home, that might be enough incentive to get them to click. So right now my ad text is filled out. You can see the preview of the ad over here. I'm going to click save ad text. And then my next spot is add media. So you can add up to 5 images in your ad. So right now I just have the front picture of the house. So if I wanted to add more, you just click add more. It's going to pull in everything from the listing. So like if I wanted to highlight the kitchen, you just select it and then you go through to preview and crop image. So up here, you can choose which sizing you want. Some of them, just whatever works best. And then some of them are formatted for different things. Like square is generic. It works great for everything. But this full portrait one, it's designed more for Instagram stories. So it's not really the best for Facebook. So I'm just gonna leave that as wide. It does cut off the top a little bit, but just kind of crop it where you want it. I'm gonna save image. If I want to add, let me see, do a picture of the pool because we mentioned that in the ad. Preview and crop image, same thing. The wide's probably going to be the best, and save. Let's see what else we have. So this house has a great screened-in back porch. So let's use that one. And then since we can do 5, I'm going to go ahead and add in a 5th one. We will do this playground. Save image. So you can arrange these images however you want. And then over here, this is going to be a live view of the ads. So you can see how they can scroll through. I will say, you might not want to take too much into account of what order you put these in. I would put your strongest, your favorite image first, just for the sake of it. But Facebook is going to kind of collect data on this, and whichever images are producing better, they're going to arrange them in such order. So keep that in mind. It's going to give you a spot to do your logo. You can choose if you want your logo to be, see if it loads. Basically, just do you want it on the left side of the image, or do you want it on the right side of the image? Ownership statement. Each office is independently owned and operated. It just puts that on the image. So we will apply that. Then we are going to save ad media. Okay, so all of those are done. So basically the ad is ready to go. It's really just a matter of configuring your targeting. So your account's going to show up here. You have to select your Facebook page. So you want to make sure that that's connected in your settings before you get here. Otherwise, you'll have to go back and do that. But once I did that, it changed it to our Keller Williams-Fayetteville Facebook page. So the destination, you have two options here. You have the Facebook lead generation form. And you have use a site or a landing page. I have seen ads that use the Facebook lead generation form. They perform a lot better, because what happens if I'm using this form, I stumble upon this ad, I click learn more. Facebook wants me to put in information before I can even go to the landing page. So before I can click through and see that great landing page that I created, I have to put in my name, email, and phone number. And then obviously you get that information. But if I just use a site or landing page, they can click through to learn more, look at the house, and close out of it without me ever knowing that, they viewed my landing page. They'll show up as a stat and clicked through numbers, but they won't show up as a lead. So this just kind of guarantees that if they want to click through and they really want to see the landing page, they're going to put in their information. So button call to action, you have learn more, sign up, and apply now. So really the only one that makes sense in this case is learn more. The follow-up destination URL. So this is where I was talking about. You can put in any URL, or you can choose a landing page. And then this is the one I created. So all of these other active ones are ones from my website. So my 20 Rolling Pines Drive was the only landing page that was marked as active. So that's the only one that shows up in here. So I'm going to click that one. And it'll show you down here, after viewers submit the Facebook lead form, you can direct them to a website or landing page. So as soon as you capture their information in there, they're free to view your landing page. And that's kind of another reason why I've seen that they like to do that. Let me click through. this little box in here, because even if they give you fake information on this Facebook lead generation form, this kind of gives them another opportunity to be like, wow, I actually really am interested in this listing, and they can put information in here as well. So ad targeting. Spring, okay. So a thing with ads, I pulled this one in as a listing. I realize now it's a Spring Lake listing. So once I do that, it's going to automatically default the location to wherever the listing is. If I, we're running an ad, let's say trying to grow my downline, and I chose one of the other options or targeting options, it's going to always default it to Austin, Texas, because that's where Keller Williams Regional is. So if you're pulling in a listing, you're fine. It should set the location, but I would always check this just to make sure, because I don't really want to be advertising this listing in Austin, Texas. So at this point, my location's good. My radius is 20 miles. If I decide that that's all I want to do, I can just save the Facebook ad, go through my budget and run it. But if I want to kind of customize this a little bit, just toggle use custom settings. Target my database means it only targets those that are in your contacts. So if you're trying to get new leads, that is not going to be the option for you. We're going to target a custom audience. Here you can change the location. So if it is, set to Austin, you can go ahead and change it in here. You can change your miles. I think 20, we'll just leave it as that. But this is where I was talking about the interest. So the expert targeting, you don't have to do this. I've seen, there's like Marty Miller does the 66-stage command challenge. He has 2 videos back to back where I believe one, he did the Facebook lead generation form versus the site or landing page to kind of compare. But I believe he also did one where he used 0 interest and just let it go, and to where he came in and customized these. So that might be worth checking out. And that's also something you could find out for yourself. Run the same exact ad, customizing the interest, and see how it differs from one that you just let it go. But I am going to click into add or change interest, and I will show you just how many there are. So I'm going to drop down. It's alphabetical from A to Z. So, we're just in C. So you could spend all day coming in here and looking. But we'll say like homeowner association, since this one is in Anderson Creek. We'll say house hunting. You can search for stuff. So if I want to use realtor.com, there it is. Like I said, I'm probably, if I'm trying to get leads, I'm not really going to want to market this under realtor.com Pro because I don't want to capture realtors as my leads. You can search for Zillow. Same thing with this one. Do you really want to be promoting this to agents? If you want to get it sold, maybe, but if you want leads, probably not. We can see what's in here for mortgage. So mortgage loans, mortgage calculators, stuff like that. So right now I have 6 selected. Really, if you hover over it, you'll see your audience size. So just in mortgage loans, that's over 169 million. So you're not really limiting yourself. You're just kind of narrowing down, trying to make sure you're marketing this to the right consumers. So I'm going to save my selection. If you want to read Facebook's ad review processes and their policies, you can click. It just opens up a different page. So really, if your ad doesn't get approved, it's usually not Keller Williams. It's usually Facebook because they're the ones who actually have to. And it'll tell you the prohibited drugs, unsafe stuff, weapons, adult content, anything that, you can kind of assume. Profanity, you don't want to be using that. So there's a ton. So we're going to close out of that. I'm going to hit Save Facebook Ad. And then your last step, we're almost there, is to do the duration and budget. So before you even create this, you should kind of have a budget in mind. I'm going to click down. So they say that they recommend a 10-day campaign and a budget of $1 per channel per day. That's what you want to roll with, and that is perfectly fine. You can choose what days you want this to go. So I can say November 12th through, we'll say the 17th. So that gives me 5 days, $6 a day per channel. So I only chose Facebook, so that's just one channel. This is where your total budget goes. So if I only want to spend $20, it'll correct that math for me. So 5 days, $4 per day per channel, $20 total. So if you're good with that, you just hit Save Duration and Budget. And then at this point, we'll hit Publish Campaign. You're going to want to make sure your card is in here and then hit Create Campaign. And then at that point, it's going to show up here. It's going to say reviewing, and then it'll say active. So you can see live results of what all's going on. So if you decide that it's not performing well, you can always stop it. It doesn't charge your $20 all at once. So if you stop it on the second day and it's used $10, it'll give you that $10 back in ad credit. But if you want to add in a payment, you can do that through this paid ads tab. Just hit payments. It'll bring up your card information and it'll show you how much you've spent per channel. And then once it's done, it'll say completed, and then you can have all of this. You can also then go back, click this, and you can duplicate it if you need to. So are there any questions?